They're not on Credit Sesame. They're not on Credit Karma. And when it comes to these rental agencies or adding rent to your credit report, oftentimes they're not there either. But if you can find a place that places your rent on all three credit bureaus, because that's optimal, it's the best way to do it, then that's the way to go. There are some, and a quick Google search will help you find a place, a comparison of the places, even giving you like how much does it cost and things of that nature. So you should definitely look into that if you're gonna be renting. And I don't care if you're going to be renting only for the next 6 months. We have a lot. Everybody has, well laid plans. Like, yep, we're gonna, we're gonna be out of this place and buy a home in 6 months. And sometimes it doesn't happen. That 6 months turns into 9 months, turns into 12 months, and you just never know what's what. So, while you can, add that to your credit report, because it's absolutely going to help you with your score if you make those payments on time. When you're doing your Google search and you're looking to see the place that you want to go to, make sure that you check for fees. Check and see what their fees are. Oftentimes there's a setup fee, and then there's an additional fee on a monthly basis, or you can pay it for the year. But there's a fee, and they differ wildly. I've seen them from $7 a month to $45 a month. So you want to make sure that you do your due diligence, if you will, and make sure you pick a place that's not going to cost you more money than it has to get these things done for you. Now, a place that doesn't charge you to do this, and it allows you to go, and it also allows you to go back 2 years. Some places don't do that either. When you sign up, it starts from the month that you sign up and goes forward. A place that does not charge, and you can go back 2 years to report rental payments, is a place called Mocafi. Mocafi. You can look them up online. They have an app as well, and you can start there with them. They only report to two, Equifax and TransUnion, so no Experian on there, but free. It's always good. It's worth a test run. At least it's worth a test run, and with that ability to go back 2 years, is very helpful. It's very helpful. It's like when we talk about your length of history. That account will be 2 years old instead of that account being something very new in there. So that's Mocafi, Mocafi, Mocafi. Go check them out. Not every rental reporting company has that option to go back 2 years. A couple of them do, and that's a very good thing for your credit report. So make sure that you check them out. And of course, as always, if you've got questions, you read something, you're not sure what it is, you go ahead and you do your Google search, and you find some places, and you want to ask my opinion on which one to use, contact me. Do not hesitate to do that. Contact me. Send me an email, 800@creditscoreman.com. That's 800@creditscoreman.com. And I'll do my very, very best to try to help you guys out when it comes to that. All right, so what else can we be doing right now? Right now, it's a perfect time to evaluate and reevaluate your spending habits. It's a perfect time to do that right now. So start with your discretionary spending. Now, you might be saying to yourself, I don't have any. I just don't have any discretionary spending. Every penny I get, it goes somewhere, right? But most of us do. And even you that are saying that, you probably have a little bit. You may not think that it's much, but you probably have a little bit of discretionary spending. So whether it's that Starbucks, which a lot of people ran to when they opened back up around the country, or if it's cigarettes, or that 44-ounce drink at the local gas station, that's my Achilles heel. I like Pepsi. That's my drink of choice, right? So I might pop in the gas station every other day or so and get me a big drink, like I call it. Nail polish, makeup, home decor stuff, or whatever your thing is. I'm putting the thing in air quotes. Whatever your thing is, you probably have a little bit of discretionary spending in there. So, like, as I drive around my neighborhood, I assume all the people putting out flowers right now and mulch and I assume that they are still working and, they're doing just fine. But that may not be the case. Perhaps it's just what they do in the springtime. They're used to doing it and they're stuck at home and they're going to do it anyway. But they could be spending money that they really don't have at this time. So it's not, if you're doing something like this, you're doing something that isn't necessary, that isn't absolutely necessary, something that's a want and not a need, and you aren't sure when your next paycheck is coming, stop. Simply stop. Stop doing those things. This is not the time. This is not the time to be keeping up with the Joneses at this point. So let's get back to your evaluation. So after your evaluation of your income and your outgo, you should start to prioritize your stuff. So what's top of the list? Food and shelter, right? Food and shelter should obviously be on the top of your list. Within the food category, though, you know that you can save some money there too, because it's cheaper to cook than it is to hit the local restaurant for takeout or delivery or whatever. So that's one way you can save a few coins right there. After food and shelter, of course, and this isn't in an exhaustive list, but since we are talking about credit, those items on your credit report currently should be addressed or paid, right? You've got to address those things on your credit report since we deal in credit on this particular show. Now, if you were somewhere else and you're dealing with a different subject, maybe those priorities change. But since I deal in credit, and we do that here on the 800 Credit Score Man Show, we're going to talk about the things that are on your credit report. So that mortgage, the car note, the student loan. We just talked about rent. If you're putting rent on your credit report, right? Credit cards. Right now, if you were in a debt plan of your own creating, you made a debt plan. I'm going to pay this particular card off by a particular time, and you're paying extra on it. Right now might be a good time just to drop to the minimum. Pay the minimum. There's no shame in only paying the minimum. So those things are the kinds of things that you want to look for and you want to prioritize. Of course, after food, after shelter, making sure your family is safe and whatnot. Late payments, you start missing those ones that show up on your credit report, those mortgages and car notes. Those late payments cost you anywhere from 30 to 100 points. So try to avoid them at all costs. You do not want to have late payments on your credit report. Can some of them be removed? Sure, they can be removed, but you want to avoid that at all costs. Because let's say this. So even if, you have a late payment, and let's say they hit you for 50 points, and even if it's an error, you actually did make the payment, but, the company made a mistake, and, it cost you 50 points on your credit report, and they correct it. You don't get exactly 50 points back. I'm going to say that again. You don't get exactly 50 points back. So when that happens to you and you have to make that correction, oftentimes it doesn't come back to 50 points. Oftentimes it's shorter than 50 points. And I'm not talking about it comes back 48 points, hike. I'm talking it might come back at 36 more points. So you lost 50, and even due to no error of your own, no mistake on your own, you did make your payment, and then when they correct it, you don't get 50 points back. You might only get 36 of that 50 back. Could be 42. I've never seen it being like 48 of those 50 coming back, so not that close. So you want to make sure that you avoid that at all costs. And fortunately, right now, a lot of companies, everybody and their mama, right? A lot of companies from different segments are really stepping up and helping their customers. So if you can't make a payment, do not hesitate to call and ask for relief. Do not hesitate to call and ask for relief. Give them a call. Some of the places are giving you things that you didn't even ask for, or you didn't even know that you could get, or you didn't even know that you needed, but they're offering things for you to help you in this particular time. And a lot of places, it's 3 months worth. It's 3 months worth of relief and help, typically, or at minimum. Some places even longer. So do not hesitate to call those people and ask for relief. Do not avoid their calls to you. So if you owe somebody and the bill is due or is past due by a couple of days or what have you, and they're calling you to collect or to remind you or whatever it is, don't avoid their calls. Now, I'm not saying answer every 800 number that calls your phone, because I don't do that. I don't answer 800 numbers. I don't answer unknown numbers. I don't answer those kinds of numbers at all for myself. Simply because I don't want to deal with people trying to sell me insurance over the phone. I don't want to hear from the Census Bureau 100 times a day. So I don't answer those calls. However, if I was late on something, I probably would start answering those phone calls as well. Well, I wouldn't, because I would have called them before they called me. But do not avoid their calls to you, nor should you wait until the payment is past due to contact them. Do not wait until your payment is past due to contact them. If you know it's going to be late, you've been thinking about it, you've missed a couple winks of sleep because you've been thinking about it, don't wait for them to call you, and then you don't wait until the payment is late. So your payment's due on the 21st. Call them prior to the 21st if you know you're not going to make that payment. So however you typically make your payment. So if you are sending checks out, and you would typically send that check out a week prior to make sure it gets there, that's when you need to just call them and say, hey, it's not going to show up. It's just not going to show up. I don't have the money. If you do, you pay online and you always go in the day before the payment is due and pay online, that day's here, give them a call and say, hey, it's not going to show up. If you set up automatic drafts from your own bank or whatnot, that payment's not going to show up on the 21st. Give them a call, tell them it's not coming, and see what your options are. Really, this is unprecedented. So, because it's not just you. If it was just, 800 people got laid off from a factory somewhere, from a company somewhere, and, it wasn't widespread, companies may not be as friendly to you about this, or it may not be a given that you're going to get some help. But right now, it's almost a given that you're going to get some help when it comes to this whole coronavirus, COVID-19. So make sure you give them a call and take advantage of this time if you're having an issue. This simple, easy step will save you some grief in the future. It will absolutely save you some grief in the future if you do these simple things by evaluating and reevaluating what you're doing right now and making sure you put priorities on where you need to make your payments and whatnot. So you're going to, of course, deal with food and shelter. Then you're going to deal with the things that are on your credit report. Deal with those things and make sure you do that. And if you need some help in deciding what is the priority for you, because even within things that are on your credit report, there could be some things that you just simply can't make that payment. So you got to decide, is it the credit card? Is it the car note? Is it the mortgage? Is it the student loan? Whatever it is, you might have to decide, which one do I pay? Because I can't pay them all. Now, you can do like people used to do back in the day and probably still do today. You can put all your bills, write them down on a piece of paper, rip them up, put them in a hat, and then reach in, and whichever one you pull out, that's the one you pay. That's one kind of system. I wouldn't suggest it, but it's one kind of system. So if you need some help with that, of course, contact me, 800@creditscoreman.com, 800@creditscoreman.com. Send me an email, and I'll do what I can to try to help you with those priorities as well. So before we get out of here today, I'm going to talk about some fixes, if you will, some restoration things that you can do and should be doing for your credit. And I'm just going to run through them right quick so I can let you go today. So, first of all, like I always say, you got to figure out where you stand. Since you can get your credit report every week from each one of the 3 credit bureaus, every week you can get your credit report from each one of the 3 credit bureaus, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. Go to www.annualcreditreport.com. I can't express anymore not to Google that, because you'll find yourself down a rabbit hole. www.annualcreditreport.com. credit report.com.